All right, welcome to another episode from the Chart Reader. So I am adding a fourth ticker to this, what is now becoming a multi-week reviewer. So I'm looking at MBOT, NVOS, MVIS, and then I'm going to add SOUN into this group, okay? Some interesting things really going on here for sure. All right, starting with MBOT. Look, I'll be honest, I actually thought today was going to do a little better. I said that in one of the comments last night, but it wasn't a bad day. But it is very, very much a textbook doji, pretty much right on the 200. So I think tomorrow is going to be a really, really important day here. All right, so I'm excited to talk about MBOT. NVOS, man, NVOS is not a pretty chart, but I'll be honest, it's doing what it needs to do, all right? I clearly wish it made a bigger move faster, but hey, it slow and steady wins the race, all right? And as much as I want more to happen, I'm so glad the worst hasn't happened. You know what I mean? So we'll talk about that. With MVIS, look, you know I was wildly surprised at the climb up. I am wildly surprised at this drop down. Doji after doji after doji after doji is pretty much the story there, and it's pretty hardcore to say the least. And then SOUN, look, I have a little special place in my heart for this stock. Today it joined the Russell. I mean, today was a big day and a really important continuation day. Okay, so I'm really excited to talk about all four. But before we do, what are we gonna do? Same thing we always do, right? We're gonna take a look at the daily and the weekly to see how these things are setting up short term. We have our 5 moving averages. There are horizontal support and resistance lines that I do draw manually myself. And then when we're done up here, we'll use the MACD, RSI, and volume as our lower indicators. Hey, really quickly, if you can please like this video, subscribe to the channel, share this thing online, comment good or bad. Look, anything you can do really does help me out with these YouTube algorithms, all right? Nonetheless, I very much appreciate you being here, okay? So let's get into it. And look, MBOT, okay? Friday, we crushed the 200, all right? I'm really happy that, like, it wasn't some, like, just a sliver over it or, like, just on it. Like, we closed well above the 200, all right? I don't mind this wick up here at all. Obviously, it would have been better to close a little bit higher, but nonetheless, this to me says, hey, we've beaten the 200. And look, you know I normally say doing it once doesn't matter much to me, and I still mean that. But look, it's been a minute since we've really owned the 200. This is probably like the last real time we did it. And really by this point, the 200 was actually at the bottom. You know what I mean? So yeah, it's an interesting history on this chart, right? So we're above all of them a little bit right here. We're above all of them a little bit right here. We're above all of them a little bit right here. And really, this was pretty much the last time we were above all the moving averages, which was April of 2021, all right? So a little more than 2 years ago, okay? We are technically over all the moving averages right now. Obviously, we did it on Friday. Today, we did it as well. But today is not the confirmation that I needed, all right? If you're gonna break the last moving, if you're gonna beat Bowser, make sure you escape the castle as well. You know what I mean? And I don't think we've quite escaped the castle, for lack of words, but there's at least more to like than not like, okay? I for sure see this 88 RSI, okay? And just kind of zooming out, I remember saying this, there haven't been sustained high RSIs. We hit a high number and drop, high number and drop. That's not that high. High number and drop, high number and drop. We're at a high number, and look, we haven't quite dropped. We're holding, right? You know. Okay, excuse me. I had to sneeze. I did my best to pause that. I'm not exactly sure where I left off. I'm pretty sure I was basically saying needed better confirmation, and you know, I know that this is kind of holding a little bit as well. I think this is actually where I was at. Sorry. But man, I think it's all about what tomorrow is going to do. Because again, I always say, you'll hear this across a number of videos, the doji, especially as textbook as this, near or on an important line, that's the 200, that's an important one, the day after should be pretty indicative. And it's either going to go up and hold a high RSI for maybe the first time ever, or, you know, it might come to like 313, 3, hopefully 24. Hopefully we don't go below the 8, okay? We bounced on it before, you know, hopefully we can keep going. The very, very lowest I'm willing to take this is 2 something, and really that's a big drop too, okay? So I wouldn't really want to see that, all right? But oh man, again, it's a high RSI. I think end of the day that always gets me a little bit, but man, we need volume. All right, the fact that we're so far below the 50 average day, it's kind of like, I don't want to say pathetic, but like nothing good will happen unless we hit this volume right here. You know what I mean? So let's take a look at the weekly. Let's see what the weekly's at. Oh man, this is such an important weekly. We are under the 50. All right. Just kind of looking. Yeah, we haven't gotten over this thing. I mean, basically since we've been over it for a while. Fuck, man, look at this thing. All right, the 50 average is going to be no joke. All right, there were some weeks we were on it, then couldn't go over it. A couple weeks above it, but basically go back, kind of oscillate. Like this 50 is going to be no joke. I like these numbers, relatively speaking. That's a decent MACD. It's not. It was going a little bit harder up. It's kind of starting to like change the slope a little bit, but I'm still liking the gap right there. This is a decent and healthy number. You know what I mean? Again, it's the volume that's just kind of, like this thing needs volume. That's really what's happening. And look, I for sure saw the $8 target. $8 isn't too far off from this 350 that we're basically at right now. But again, you hear me say it all the time. Don't have $8 dreams on a 350 stock, right? You barely should be having $6 dreams. You know what I mean? So right now, the focus should be on the 200 only. Make me believe we've broken it. All right, make me believe that. Otherwise, I'm telling you, part of this video said it might even come down to 260, right? And that's pretty much the horizontal here. That's roughly where this line is, right? Like we might be coming to 280s to 260s. So let's see what happens. I just sincerely hope we can hold one or both of these lines. That's basically the goal for MBOT. All right. NVOS. Let's take a look at NVOS. And again, this is not a fantastic daily chart by any means. However, it's doing the job, all right? I clearly wanted the takeoff to go there, right? We finally break this downtrend. That was looking nice. You know, I was hoping this down candle would have been a bigger up candle, okay? What then happens, we at least hold the 8. We presumably bounce off the 8. And again, this red candle down, I really was hoping was going to be a nice green one up, okay? That said, look, as much as I would have liked to get over this line, I've had this line for a while, I am glad we basically speaking are at or a little above 50% candle. I would say we at least held 50% of Friday, and that is a good thing in my book. Again, these are still good numbers. I mean, I guess it's just, I wish this was a little higher, but hey, I'll take positive. That's really what I was going to say from there. You know, this isn't a bad number. It's definitely in the mid 60s, right? It could go a little bit higher for sure. Like, we just need to escape these lines, all right? And again, I'm not here dreaming about this gap fill by any means. In fact, we still got to get over the 200 before we even start talking the gap, right? But hey, I would love this thing to go to like, honestly 22 if it can, right? Because end of the day, this shouldn't be that hard a channel. Red, 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 green, 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 red, red, red. Like there's a lot of just straight up downs. You know what I mean? We just got to get into it. And then, you know, from there, hopefully kind of the same thing here. There's a little bit of a plateau. I don't know if this is worth drawing something. We'll see. They're not even really good candles in all honesty. So, but yeah, just man, this thing is close. And hey, I'm at least glad we're staying over the 8. We're letting the 20 kind of make its way up as well, hopefully, right? But look, there's 4 lines right here. For all I know, we're just going to oscillate in the 4. And it's hard to get out of moving averages. It really, really is. You know what I mean? So I'm kind of taking this thing one day at a time, you know what I mean? So let's see what happens. I'm glad we held what we held. Obviously, I wish we did better, but yeah, tomorrow, I mean, we got to get into the 16s. That's a set. Like, look, this right here is essentially a high 15 because I go just a little bit up and there's 16 right there, right? So we got to get into the 16s and we got to close into the 16. Like, I'm glad we opened up here, promising to say the least. I don't care about the open, right? I care about the close. So NVOS, it's close, but you know, interesting. That's an odd downward 8 moving average on the weekly, especially because this wasn't that horrible of a day, in all honesty. Again, I'm not here pretending I know the math behind these lines, but that was a little more violently down than I think I would have anticipated. Obviously, it's still early in the week, so we'll see what happens the next few days. Maybe that'll adjust what happens with the 8, but yeah, not a beautiful not a beautiful RSI, not a fantastic 8. That's interesting, actually. Interesting. All right, that's something I'm putting in my back pocket. Again, just disappointed in how this thing is moving out. There's really no other way of saying it, okay? MVIS, MVIS. Look, a lot of people really were loving my videos because, like, I was wildly shocked at how much this thing was running, how high it was living the RSIs. A lot of people found it really comical, and I think I got some good viewers because of it, you know? In all honesty, this last week and a bit has been as surprising to me as this rise up, okay? I'm so shocked that we haven't seen a big candle drop. That's, I mean, the biggest candle will say, and then essentially doji, 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 pretty much a doji as well. Like, it's crazy that this thing isn't going down harder and faster. And I think it actually speaks a lot to the stock itself. You know what I mean? Like, these candles up were pretty big. It's not like it was little doji, little doji, little doji. Like these were big, significant percent moves, almost 10% or higher for the most part, right? Like, this thing is going down really slow. And again, I'm surprised to say the least, okay? It's starting to look like this is getting a little more violent. It seems like this is going further away from each other than it was, right? Again, I'm still relatively, I'm assuming this is going to come down to the 50. I'll be honest with you. I don't know if this horizontal is going to be strong enough. Maybe it will. We still haven't even gotten there yet. We still haven't even wicked it yet, right? But I think I'm presuming that this is going to come down to the 50. The question really still is, will we hold the 50 and bounce, or are we going to fall down to these two right here, okay? I will say, overall, I'm feeling a little better that we'll hold these two because RSI is getting low. All right, and again, I know I talked about the RSI being super, damn, I was in the 4s. That is super low. But it should still take a good amount of work to get all the way down here if it does. That should bring this down enough to where we should say, hey, all right, it should pick up, okay? Really, I'm just, again, so surprised that doji after doji after doji after doji after doji. Like, it's weird to say the least, you know what I mean? So 50 moving average really is the story here, okay? Not quite where we want to be on the weekly. Again, we want to be over the 8 moving average everywhere, on the daily, on the weekly, everywhere, right? So I'm sad that we're just under it. Again, it's still early in the week, so hopefully we go back up. And then again, where these two lines are pretty close to where, sorry, these two lines are, right? Like, this is 310. Where are these at? This one's basically 310 at 312, right? So, and I'm assuming this one, 330, 340, where are you at? A little higher. But again, I could see this maybe losing, and maybe we come down to that 340 that we just saw in the weekly. Maybe it comes to this. I don't think we're going to lose this 310. I don't think we're going to lose the 20 on the weekly. I don't think we're going to lose these two on the daily. You know, I'm just curious to see what's going to happen here at least. And look, you generally fall away from the 8 moving average. You then make your way towards it. We're either going to go up or go down. And I think that might happen over the next 2 days. So I'll be watching this for sure, but overall, I still have to be a little pessimistic here. Like I said, I think I'm leaning towards this coming to the 50 more than I'm leaning this going up to the 20, right? But yeah, for me, if you can break 340, I'd consider an entry. And really, I'll set an alert for that just in case it does happen. Because like I said, I think something should be happening soon. So let's take a look at 340. SOUN Hound, SOUN. Okay, look, this is the power of the 8 moving average, okay? Friday was an ugly day, and I was talking to a couple people on YouTube about how scared, I'm not gonna lie, how scared I was for SOUN Hound. And my plan really was, if we lost the 8, it was gonna be game over for me, and I was pretty much gonna sell everything, and I was ready. Because look, the AI stocks aren't looking fantastic. NASDAQ wasn't looking as hot as it was. Like, I was a little scared, okay? Then it gets added into the Russell. Look, any stock, if you can get added to an indice, is money in the bank, all right? They basically said, look, this was a stock that was better than something we already had, so we're gonna put you in and kick someone out. You know what I mean? Like, that is huge for SOUN Hound. Volume just keeps on increasing steadily. I love it. Like, that is almost perfect. You know what I mean? Like, that's still good. Not very high either. That's still good. I mean, it literally check mark, check mark, check mark, check mark, right? So are we over this? What did you close at? 399. We're at 405. I still like SOUN Hound. Where are we after hours? Is this thing running at all? It's holding. I like it. I like SOUN Hound. I really, really do. And again, we basically wicked my 460 line. And if 460 breaks, it gets really silly. I'm going to set an alert for 464. I want to make sure I know that happens if we get over that line. But that's the money line, and man, we are close to it. Interesting weekly right here on the RSI. It looks like we might cool a little bit. It is high, all right? And look, I mean, it's actually higher than it's ever been. We've never been this high before. So, excuse me, interesting. Maybe it won't fly. Maybe it won't break this and crush. But either way, getting in the Russell is huge. Okay, so a lot to like. I'm adding this one because I do plan on talking about this one a little bit more regularly. But a lot to love one more time. Hey, let me know what you think. Otherwise, thank you.